Good afternoon. You are watching us from our main studios here at Sukuta, and this is your one-on-one show with me, Pa Usman Fall. In the studio today, I have a guest, the CEO and founder of Clarice Mcormack charitable organization. But before he introduces himself, like I always do, if you want to be part of the program, you all know what to do. Follow us on all our social media platforms. We are on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and we are on Facebook. It's rather unfortunate that Mr. Sabal is not here today, otherwise he would have screened on TikTok Live. But better still, we are still okay with the ones we are having. Now I will turn over the mic to Mr. Mcormack so he can introduce himself and tell us a little about him, and then we can have the program in proper. Good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon, Mr. Fowl.
How are you?
I'm good, sir. How's everything?
Welcome to the one-on-one show.
Thank you very much.
Can you please tell us about you and formally introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Donald Mcormack. I'm a Gambian, Nakubai tribe. I'll say, and still is international relations student at Stafford College of Management. I'm here to talk about and create awareness on a foundation that I created, named after my late sister that passed away of cancer. So this foundation is about creating awareness on certain basic issues and certain sectors of the society that I feel that they are forgotten about, which is the prisons and the mental home.
Wonderful, that's just nice. Mbokk yi di leen nuyu rek di leen ziar di leen jox seen wàccuwaay di leen wan ne rek tey gis ngeen gan bi nga xam ne moom lañ leen fi amal muy xale la nag muy ay xale bu xarañ bi nga xam ne nag am na benn organisation benn mbooloo bi nga xam ne moom mooy nekk koo xam ne comme moom moo ko door te moom mooy CEO bi tamit mu nekk charity boo xam ne charity organisation boo xam ne comme système la ko tuddee système boo xam ne dafa génn àdduna yal na ko yàlla yërëm ak ñu fa fekk yëpp ñu fi des tamit yàlla yéexee leen kii nag moom moo nekk boss bi si organisation bi nga xam ne comme moom la ñoo wax Clarice Mcormack organisation so tey nag duñ def dara lu ñu waxtaan ak moom mu explain li nga xam ne moo waral organisation bii nii bi nga xam ne moom la tuddee système bi nga xam ne I am sure ne comme système bi is so dear to him moo tax mu dal di ko tuddee li nga xam ne comme loolu la nekk di si loolu la nekk di yëngu ak teamam bi yëpp léegi duñ def dara rek mbokkee lu ñu laajte ko suñ question bu njëkk bi nga xam ne moom lañ amal kii di Mr. Mcormack. Mr. Mcormack, we will want to know what brought about this amazing initiative.
Well, the initiative, what brought about it, it's for me, I've always looked at as international relations students, and there are certain sectors of the society that when you take a look of how things are going, you feel like that you can play a little with the part you have. With the little you have, you could play a great role too. It's not what about you do for what your country has to do for you, but it's what you have to do for your country. So as back then when my sister was in the hospital at Gamtel ward, you could see the lapses in the hospital system and the places, the challenges, the little things that it might be a little, but it could go a long way.
Yeah.
So as I pick it up from there, then I later look at, okay, as I'm growing older, studying and going to college and looking at the sectors in the Gambia that are kind of forgotten about, my main focus always goes to the prison department and the prison department and the mental home, because I've once spent a day in the mental home, which is Tanka Tanka, back then when it was in Banjul at Kampama. I've spent a day there and then I see how things have gone. Since then, that's when I had the passion that, okay, these are people that are forgotten about sometimes in the society. And my own thing is that I feel like they still need to. We don't have to forget about them, but they still need love, caring, and support and assistance.
Because they are part of the society as well, which is really wonderful. I like where this inspiration is coming about, and may the soul of your sister is in perfect peace and all the departed souls. This is indeed wonderful, to be honest, being as young as you are. You have to go through a lot, and then from there you did not just let that lesson just go like that. So you came up with this wonderful initiative to help people, because you don't actually want what happened to your sister to happen to others. You believe that you can also play a part, an integral part, to make sure that you put a stop to those shenanigans. And I believe this should be a learning tool for every young person out there that is watching and listening to this one-on-one show. And looking at it, you've mentioned few places For example, you've mentioned Tanka, you've mentioned the hospital, and you've mentioned the prison as well. And I think these are places that people should really put into consideration, because people that are there are not exempt from the society. They are also part of us, in as much as they have certain things that make them, confined within that vicinity or premises. But to be honest, they are part of us, and making them part of us also will play an important role to making sure that it can contribute to them getting better. It can contribute to those who are in prison realizing that, life is not just about doing things that will, incriminate you or anything like that. But I will also want to know why these institutions, for example, you have the prison, you could have, thought of something else, but you choose the prison. You could have also thought of something else, but you choose the mental home. You could have also thought of something else, but you choose, the hospital. Why these three institutions?
Well, if you look at it, at the prisons, those are the areas you have people that are more forgotten. Like I once told you about, told you about not too long ago. There are people in prison that don't get visits. There are people in prisons that go through, and we know how the prison system in Africa is. It's not that everything is all that too good. And at times, they're under budget, especially. So when you start going there and you're visiting them, like I told you, I spent a day in Tanka, so I saw what happened. You understand? So, back then when it was Kampama, I saw what happened. I saw how it was over there. So going to the prison on a day, I went to the Joseon prison, I could say a few months back, earlier, probably 4 or 5 months back, before I was really starting the organization. A day in the prison, like I told you earlier, it was just a few hours, but you feel like you're somewhere else that's different from where you are. So when I was there, I was able to listen to some of the problems. And the thing is that this place, for me, all along, I've looked at it that why are people not paying attention that much? They're not even giving the audiences they deserve. Some people are there and still they didn't even have justice. People have been there for different reasons. So it entails a lot. It's a whole package. So for me, like I told you, they are the people, I hardly heard people talk about. How many times will you hear the madam said in it, prison no matter what we do, people prison bill. So if you heard about it's always other different narratives. So that's the reason that led me. It's something I'm really passionate about.
Absolutely, and which is really good, because essentially making them feel abandoned it will not help them. It will not guide them to understand that, okay, I need to change my life for the better. But the moment they felt that they are abandoned, it's something else. It will even, propel them to do more things that will incriminate them, which I believe it's really bad. We are all family, we are all Gambians, so we should support one another despite where you are or where you came from. It's really, really important. Institution bi nga xam ne comme kii di Mr Makoma comme door na ko ak ñi nga xam ne ñooñu la si bugg a support muy moo target comme ñii di prison bi la nekk di target ak ñi nga xam ne comme mooy ñi nga xam ne daal yàlla def na daal dañ am feebaru xel ñun tamit ak ñi nga xam ne comme mooy hospital bi in general muy foo xam ne comme mooy suñu wàllu bunti wér gu yaram moom système teeloon na foofu noonu si biir li nga xam ne mooy lopitaan bi, waaye gis na nu ñu ko doon traité ak naka lañ ko doon jàppale. mu gis ne daal lu bari mu ngi nekk loo xam ne daal ñàkk na te moom feel na ne daal comme it's a collective responsibility. du ne xam ne lu ñu war a bàyyee docteur yi la wala nurse yi rek, comme ñun suñu bopp as a society we have a role to play. moo tax mu ñëw ak this wonderful initiative to make sure ne comme xëy na balaa moo egga si certain stage moom tamit dina mën a jàppale li nga xam ne moo di réewam. Mr Makoma mu nekkal lu am solo. ba pare soo bàyyee xel Gambia léegi majority of the young Gambians are going insane. So waroon a jóge fii tey si studio bi balaa ngaa egga fii ba Westfield, the number of young people ñooy gis ñoo xam ne wéeruñ ñu ngi am this mental disability, comme sa yaram bi dafa daw mu leer na ne mënul naan nekk yow. Understand nga? So te knowing ne da comme li nga xam ne yow nga nekk di songa du lu yomba, lu métti la, lu xam ne dafa require a whole lot of finance. Understand nga? So we want to know, like, are you approaching institutions, international organizations, philanthropists, Samaritans, képp koo xam ne comme feel nga ne xëy na mun na see jàppale, because this is not for you. This is geared towards national development. Understand? Because ñi ngi ko defal ay nit ñi leen ay Gambians te fii lañ bokka. xëy na yàlla leen teg loo xam ne mun na la koo teg yow mun na ma koo teg man understand so suñu ko yàlla tegilee teg leen ko ñoom daf ñu war a yokk xel ne dañ leen war a jàppale comme ñoo ko waxee mu nekk lu rafet waaye ndax yaa ngi amin jokko ak ñoo xam ne you believe ne they can play an essential role in helping financially either cash or kind as well.
Well, as of now, fu mu nekk nii daal dañ just taxawal everything léegi leen door. So moo tax tey ñu ñëw si yow mi nekk suma broda moo tax mu ñëw si yow. Because I need to create awareness and a way how to get funds in order to do the little. Lu gën a ndaw sax foofu leen gën a bugg a door which is waaye as of now amangun waaye we planning on sending letters and sending in short videos of how things will be, how things are at the ground, whereby for them to see not just a letter asking you for funds, where at least nga gis ne okay su ma donate si organisation bi sax lii ak lii gab bi la ñoo fata understand nga so let me say this week is when we are planning to do. We have not gotten a partnership yet, despite the fact ñu ngi hopeful affiliate ak yeneen partners especially like certain UN bodies. And because project with the lache lu it's a big package. So as of now we're hoping to affiliate with others. But why balanyo def lolu nono then buga when we're doing it then when we're sending an invitation letter fundraising letters it will be not just written something but at least a visual something for you to get a clue about what we are doing in this we're planning to do.
Absolutely. Mr. Mokma, you've also made mention of visiting the prisons. I mean ñu gis ne dem nga fa tem wax nga ne comme foofu soo fa duggee rek da ngay feel ne yaa ngi si beneen àdduna because atmosphere bi si boppam like it does not hotel well mu nekk place bu yéeme place boo xam ne comme énewul kenn pour mu dem fa nit ko gën a bañ sax comme énewuloo ko pour mu dem foofu noonu because place boo xam ne dafa tanis sa image dafa tanis sa character it demoralize you as a normal human being understand nga so why come we will want to know comme yow boo fa duggee when you started engaging them, like how do you feel?
Well, to be honest with you, then they were the way, football na neka bena. Wow, I dega so dega prison mom, small way. Linga hamne duga nga plus. Yeah, because dumako musafate. My first experience, bunteje buntabi. Send carnatu this mentally and psychologically. Yo hamngane fuma neka ni is different from the outside world.
Absolutely.
So being there alone, it's a mental something that, it really disturbs you. But the thing I'm really hoping for is that maybe we could get a chance to showcase for them to even listen, for the people to even listen to them and get to know much more of what they needed. Yes.
Absolutely, which is, really, really important. Daw na yaram torop because suñu ay brother ñoo fa nekk ak suñu ay sister comme like I said earlier da nga gis ne comme man suma ba am na so many things yoo xam ne def naa ko teelu bon la xëj na nit ñoo seetaan duñ xam waaye yàlla moom xam na understand nga te xëj na man yàlla defut ko man ma dem foofu noonu am na ñoo xam ne they did like nothing and then they are suffering moo tax comme lu nga dee wax rek jaami yàlla moom soo xëy suba rek santal yàlla bu baax because comme noo ko waxee rek I have not been there but you've been there so it's from the horse's mouth so it cannot be better than this so come we've seen ne comme dem prison tam dafa am li nga xam ne moo la fa dee yóbbu so you might have something because yow dem nga fa doo tëjuñ la fa and may God forbid but dem nga fa you know how it feels isn't it experience nga ko so you want to tell youths that are still that are having the chance of being free that are having their liberty. So let them not put it at risk. Because come what you've said, the life you are used to and the life that is there is quite different. So what will you tell these youths to be extremely careful of these crimes that will, that can compel you to, or lead to your conviction, may God forbid, and go protect all youths of the Gambia from shenanigans like this?
Well, my advice to the youths will be, especially young people, try to stay out of drugs. Have a positive mindset and believe that as a young person you could put your own little in making your country a better place. Because to be honest with you, even when you sit at home the whole day you don't want to go out, yeah, bugut again.
Yeah.
Why I'm not know the talk as yo Mr. Bob I face it after this off. Sagar mafula chabi feto ganaw.
Yeah.
You understand? So you look at it as times when we're growing up as young people, we tend to get different attitudes and colleaguing here and there. We've not even find up our own main self as a young person.
Yeah.
Probably till you start going older, that's when you realize your purpose. So the thing I'm telling you, don't take your freedom and everything you have for granted.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this is when you're institutionalized, it's a whole different process. If you're not strong mentally, it might break you to some point that you become what you're not.
Absolutely.
You know, we are outside today, being outside and able to do what you want to do, it's a freedom from God. And, you know, it's not just normal something. We should be grateful for that. And when you look at it as tanka tamit, you're there, you see a lot of young people that go crazy because of, lately we heard about Gina Bass.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things, drug abuse. Then you ask yourself, who are the future leaders of the Gambia?
Absolutely.
If we're having a lot of young people running mad and helter-skelter and everything, who are the ones going to take over this country?
Yeah, it's a question.
So, and at times, when you go to the mental home, the mad people with sick, who are mentally ill, women are abused. You know, some of them do. Back then, the one in Banjul, women do jump the fence and go out.
Oh God! Wow.
So you see, and at times you see mad people in the street. They didn't have that much care, so anything can happen to them.
Yeah.
And so you look at it. If you're young, you know, you're healthy, you're going about your business. Thank God for it.
Absolutely.
And the best I could say, stay out of trouble, drugs, and be positive all the time.
Okay, comme ñun ñoko digandor ki Mr. Makoma, a very young man and a very positive man for that matter. Yang li nga xamne lolu la amal youth si comme boy, the freedom you have comme bu ko tiaxane. On digala nak comme youth si Gambia ñun the only thing we think about is ne comme okay, dañu wara we have to make money, we have to make something to make sure that come we feed our moms, we make them proud. Sometimes it's not just money that can make your mom proud. Say yaay boy mu comme mu desi ñaka moko gënal comme nga duga ci naka sudut non. So these are things we should put into consideration. I mean, Mr. Makoma, going back to the tanka stuff, the people with disability, like you've rightly mentioned, we are at a generation whereby couldn't use this, I mean, drugs, like the likes of course, Gina Bass, even this weed, this, I mean, pills that these boys are using now. So how do you use it? But like I said, so I made garab sakir. Come, so fekene danga buga dog garab bi. There are two ways of cutting a tree. So ko munga ko dog pour mu sahat. Munga ko dog pour mu baña sahat. And looking at Gina Bass, looking at all the drugs apart from cannabis, marijuana, looking at all these drugs that they are not made in the Gambia here. They are made and they have been imported, isn't it?
Yes.
So te fi do muna import dara te awlo si yon. From am si yon bo aw. So two things are involved. It's either our security are letting them bring these things, you know, normally, or perhaps there is a way corruption in our system. At the end of the day, this type of things, I'm feeling whether you are a security man or you are a mere civilian, the war pulling protect sa domiri. Because it's more than obvious. Least if you do say, boy, then go use. Then go use it. At the end of the day, dekabila mo nyo disturbat. Ngata say sa broda mo daf ko tasel ko xamne daf la ku góor la sa broda because broda jambur la te Gambia dafa ndaw danaka almost dika bi ñiba boka. So saving one is like saving all. Don't you think also, I mean, as Gambians we also have a role to play in stopping this, I mean, imported drugs from getting into our country?
Yeah, you know, in every society and in every sector, you have bad elements there. So I could say probably there are bad elements that allow these things to come into the country because with nowadays, you know, with the sophisticated scanning machines and everything, even when you do your search through as a security personnel, you will be able to, we cannot catch everybody. They said always the criminal is one step ahead of the police. Then the police will catch them, then they will change their format. It's like a cat and mouse chase.
Exactly.
But what I'm trying to say, yes, what I'm urging, especially those that are at those level of port of entries in these countries, to just be, you know, to do their job justly, thoroughly, and as every Gambian citizen too, like, you know, like I said, it's not what your country will do for you, but what you will do for your country. If you see that this is wrong, and this is a person selling something illegal, or, you know, this is what, then I think maybe it's supposed to be even a toll-free number that you can call, probably hide your identity, and report what's going wrong in your area. Because if we are all policed in our own areas, then when something is going wrong, you can call and say, okay, fine, this is it. Because, as you said, they too have a role to play. If we toughen up on the security sectors, especially in those areas, then probably it will make it hard for those criminals to bring illegal substances into our country. So I think they too, at their own aspect, maybe they need to add up their level of search and things, and how they process people that come into the Gambia. They have to be checked thoroughly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Which is really, really important.
Well,
And the reason why I am bringing these two questions was because we are all youths, and I believe sometimes we the youths can also talk to our fellow youths, and then they will relate. You know, sometimes whenever these old people will talk, they'll say aside of a margin. But when they see a young person like us talking to them, they don't know aside and then he's saying something that is really making sense. And then it's really what emulating, which I believe is really important. Now, going back to the main discussion, we've talked about few important things. We've mentioned the hospital, we've mentioned the psychiatric home, which is Tanka. We've also mentioned the prisons. So we want to know, how do you want this project to go about? How do you want to help them? For example, if you go to the prison services, the prison sector, you know that there are certain things that they are lacking. You've been there. At least you don't know all, but you know a few things that you believe you can be able to, step in based on their shelter, clothing, the food that they eat. If you go to Tanka also, like you've mentioned, some of the things that they need, some of the things that are causing most of these young people going insane. If you go to the hospital as well, things that they should improve. And if you have the chance, you will definitely help them improve on those things. So we want to know how you want your project to go about.
Okay, for the prisons, we were thinking, we had a plan, we already had a plan of especially with the women, donating reusable sanitary pads, and especially cleaning utensils. But the cleaning utensils is going to be for the whole prison department. But we're giving a little bit of privileges to the women, because women are easily to catch up infections.
Exactly.
So you hear them talking about infections also. Whatever they have to do, it has to be clean. And that's all. Then secondly, what we're trying to do is to revive the gardens, like their gardens, the prisoners, their gardens, and their poultries, in order for them to have a balanced diet. Because if their gardens are working well, at least it will save cost. Probably because at times they tell you they're underfinanced.
Exactly.
So it's not much. They don't give them much balanced diet. So if we can help them create a good gardening system, especially from Banjul State Prison, which is Mile 2, Joswang Prison, and all of these prisons to have a standard garden whereby not all, but at least some of the basic commodities they will need for lunch and dinner, they can have it from there. Those are the main things we're looking into going to. Because if you look at it, we're not just going to start with all, but there are certain basics they need to have, especially like when it comes to food, sanitary, especially food and sanitary, they are the main basics. And when it's the hospital too, we are trying to donate, especially it goes back to the female ward. I'm a man, I couldn't have my sidelines go, I look at it like,
it's true.
When it comes to these issues, women do lack more, and they do suffer from it.
Absolutely. And then it is our duty to protect them.
Oh yes, exactly.
We usually say it. Men always say ladies first, isn't it? Yeah. So that's it.
Those are the areas, but especially when it comes, as of now, we're hoping to donate to the prisons, the sanitary institutions, whereby they will able to clean everything at least in a whole month, to be supplying, or at a particular time. Despite they're going to manage it, but it's not like we're going to come, give it like, we're coming with it. We'll try to plan to come with it, but we want to touch the main basic areas at the prisons. Because food is something. Yeah, it's a basic need. Yeah, food is something. It's a basic need. And toiletries is another second two basic needs, whereby you must, no matter who you are, everybody goes there to do their business. So at least, despite the fact they're in prison, but let them feel like, okay, I'm here, but this is not the end of life.
Absolutely.
Those are the purpose.
That's it, which is a really important point. Comme boka ñu delu war rek suñu mbokk olof yéen nga déggal nga wax comme mom lepp li nga xam dal mu ko def comme jigéen yi lam ci gëna nekk di prioritize, because comme jigéen yi ñun ñoko def ñun suñu boppa ñun dañ ko lay wax ñun di gentlemen dañ day wax ne comme anything that we do, ladies first, because comme ñom ñoo nekk ñoo xam ne ñoo ñu gëna fragile, and then what men can withstand, ladies cannot, to be honest. Légui nak ñom ñu ne ñu dañoo dem 50-50, waaye it's practical practically impossible because that's how we were created. We should be there for them and we should prioritize them first. Comme naka la ko waxee rek nekkul di def any form of segregation. Collectively, he is going to help all, or generally, he is going to help everybody. But ladies are the priority because ñoom ñoo ko gën a soxla. He has been in the prison te gis na naka la gaay doon dundee te gis na ne métti na trop te fil na ne comme njëkkee ko si jigéen ñi tamit moo nekk li nga xam ne am na solo trop comme ni naka lañ ko dee waxee rek comme lu ne du doy te we are talking about things that are really I mean important waaye dinañ by Mr. Mcormack rek mu tàggatoo because comme ni ko dee waxee rek time du dee nekk suñu this is really important and we are optimistic that there will be a day maybe within this week we will definitely go and visit the prison services as lépp loo xam ne di ngeen ko bëgg a xam wala di ngeen ko bëgg a gis yëpp fii la xew fii si Jungle I mean online TV dinañ dem tamit fi nga xam ne mooy tànka and many other places yoo xam ne comme doomi réew yaa ngi fa te ñu ngi daj naka su dul noonu te kii nga xam ne mooy Mr. Mcormack dina leen bëgg a jàppale. So Mr. Mcormack, time is not on our side,
yes,
so I will allow you to give your concluding remarks, and from there we see what to do.
Well, what I'm saying is, well, the initiative basically is to help the less privileged. No, well, we're starting with the prisons and the mental homes and now making it a priority. But as time goes on, nengena dugasi yanan anam yala sunyo kome then. You know, we have funds for other things. Then nenko gena specialize, ni gena centralized affairs, gena yatal, involve ñeneen ñi foofu noonu soobee yàlla. Why? As time goes on, probably all we're looking for right now, we're asking for help, donations. That's what we're asking for to make it happen. And maybe next time we'll bring our account numbers and how best people can donate and help.
Exactly.
That's what we're hoping for.
Wonderful. You know ko déggandoor mbokay kii di Mr. Mcormack wax na ne comme project bi du pour xëj na ne comme fu mu nekk nii it's centralized within the combo because we are doing the preparation and some of the things that we need to put in place ak li nga xam ne loolu la bëgg nit ñi xam but the more he receives support the more he decentralized responsibility and make sure that at least comme jàppale na Gambia bi tey if it is possible su si Gambia bi jotee sax keneen kum si mun a boole even outside the Gambia because it's a charitable organization comme people that you believe that can help please I mean we are urging everyone to come and play a role because this is geared towards national development and it is for Gambia. It is a Gambian young man who came up with this initiative, this Clarice Mcormack charitable organization. It's for all. So every Gambian should at least play a role, being it institution wise, a Samaritan, a philanthropist. This is something that we need. And this is something that we should do that we help this young man and his team. Kudos to Mr. Mcormack and his entire team. We appreciate you coming here. Thank you very much for granting us this interview. And I believe we will have more and more interviews like this. Mbokk yi rek comme naka lañ ko waxee rek lii leen fi amaloon tey si seen one-on-one programme bi man la seen xarit seen soppe Pa Ousman Fall. Do stay tuned for our subsequent programs that are to come. And then solo ñu bëggee topp rek comme toppale ñu si suñu all the social media platforms. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. So duñ def dara rek lu ñu bàyyi leen ba beneen yoon inshallah seen one-on-one programme la with me Pa Ousman Fall.